Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay
everyone?
calm.
What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
Well, it's finally happening. So, Spindlehorse have just officially released their biggest announcement in a long time, with this 3-minute long announcement video where we have been given updates on not only Hasbin Hotel's future, but Helluva Boss's future from now on. And honestly, depending on how the situation unfolds, this might very well be the thing that saves Helluva Boss. Hey guys, it's the Pink King here, and yes, you heard me correctly, Helluva Boss might actually be saved. But that's not all, because this announcement also teased something very interesting about a potential crossover between these two shows. Is this a good thing, or is it a disaster waiting to happen? Let's talk about it. First, let's discuss about Hasbin Hotel's news, because this is honestly kind of shocking for me personally, as not only has Hasbin Hotel been greenlit a second season, nor a third season, but for 4 damn seasons. You heard me right, 4 seasons. And I know I can be very harsh on Hasbin, but I think even for the biggest Hasbin Hotel fan, this is a little ridiculous. Let's not forget, we're only on 1 season of this show so far, with only 8 episodes to go off of so far. So this is definitely seems a little like wishful thinking. And honestly, a little worrying to me, because making 1 season of a show, especially an animated show, is already difficult enough. But to already have 3 more seasons of work to get ahead of is, to me, a little ridiculous. And a stupid move, to be honest, because it seems like Vivziepop and her team are pushing themselves unrealistically, and in doing so, the quality of what they produce will heavily suffer. Because let's not forget, Vivziepop is also working on Helluva Boss at the same time, and what they just announced, which I'll get into in a minute, but her hands are already tied with Helluva Boss and Hasbin Hotel. I thought it was extreme to focus on making 2 shows at the same time, but to be making 3 seasons of 1 show and another season of a completely different series at roughly the same time, it's just asking for problems, man. Like, honestly, because how do you intend to put all of your effort into making something as good as it possibly can be when that effort is also being spread across other projects? It feels like they're desperate to keep pushing content, making more and more, but haven't taken into account the potential damage that can do in the long term. So while this news is more exciting, it's definitely something we gotta look out for, because it could honestly make or break whatever it is they're trying to do here. But before I ramble on for too long, let's discuss Helluva Boss, because yes, the rumors are now officially true. Helluva Boss is coming to Prime Video, with the deal essentially being Prime will now help produce Helluva Boss content, ensuring it has a much smoother release, and in return will release exclusively on Prime Video for a month, and then will be completely free on YouTube. Now, this is definitely exciting news for me, because I've been one of the driving forces in the online space about the decline of Helluva Boss and how it's derailed its own hype. But if Prime Video is now going to be working with Spindlehorse in order to get these episodes out on a hopefully weekly schedule, then this could honestly save the show. I'm being serious, because not only will it be avoiding those long hiatuses that we all hate, but it will now hopefully be worked on by much more people, and hopefully some more experienced people who will be able to come in and give much needed advice for the future of this series. Because whether you're a fan of this show or not, this news is really massive, and depending on how they go about it, could very much course correct this series in a big way, with much better consistency. The only real concern over this is whether or not the writing team will learn from the mistakes from the past. Because Season 1 was clunky, but ultimately it was harmless, it was fine. But Season 2 was honestly a dumpster fire. I don't need to talk about how bad Season 2 was, I've already done that plenty of times, but all you need to know is that season 2 completely derailed the potential this series had. So in order for this series to essentially come back from the brink of failure, they really need to learn from what they did wrong before. And now, hopefully with the smart people at Amazon, they can find their footing finally and get back on track, because once you've fallen, the only real way to go is up. So hopefully they can once again climb that ladder. But before we go, there was one more massive reveal dropped in this announcement also, and that was the potential of a crossover between Hasbin Hotel and Helluva Boss. This could either be the greatest thing ever, or a disaster waiting to happen, because for the longest time, people and fans have wondered what it would be like for these characters to interact, seeing as they're all in the same universe. How would the imps find the Hasbin Hotel? And how would characters like Charlie interact with Blitzo? Or the villains interact with each other? It has a lot of potential for future stories, and it seems like they have something planned for Helluva Boss and Angel Dust in particular, since that's what they said specifically. And that's a really interesting combination. The imps and Angel Dust is a very risky move, but does have potential. I see a route they can take in order to make this work. But this is perhaps, dare I say, maybe too much, too soon. Call me crazy, but as cool as the idea of Hasbin Hotel and Helluva Boss crossing over is, something feels off about it. These shows are almost completely different in certain points, like where they are currently at in stages and what they're supposed to be about. Heck, we barely know some of the key characters from both shows. So how are we supposed to care about them interacting with other characters when we barely know who they are on their own? It all seems a little messy. Maybe if they have 1 or 2 episodes where they cross over occasionally, it'd be fine for now, but for me at least, I can't help but feel like it's way too soon to be having these sort of crossovers. Simply because there's not enough from either series in order to justify crossing them over yet. So while the idea is definitely enticing, you run the risk of fatigue. While we definitely have been waiting for more content, perhaps 3 more seasons for one show and a 3rd season of another alongside a crossover in what only seems to be a few years might just be a little too much for people. If it's all the same as it's been before and both series aren't unique enough on their own to have their own unique identities, then they run the risk of being boring, because whether you like it or not, there can indeed be too much of a good thing. So much so that it can become stale. And if that actually does happen alongside neither of the shows improving, quality-wise, then it can be a complete disaster waiting to happen. But then again, if they can pull this off, and it's probably the biggest if they've ever done, if they can make this work by some miracle, then we might be seeing the greatest animation comeback in recent history. I not too long ago crowned Glitch as the new kings of indie animation, but if Spindlehorse can make this series of events work, they might just take that crown back. And I'm being 100% serious here. But what do you guys think? Are you guys excited by this news, or are you a bit more on the fence about it? Let me know everything you guys think down below in the comments. I want to hear everything you guys have to say, and I want to see what your guys' opinion on this news is. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos just like this, then be sure to like it and subscribe. Doing that helps me out massively and allows me to make more content for you all just like this. But with that, peeps, it's been the Pink King here, and I will see you all next time.